Hey guys, Tenty here again, and thank you for stumbling across my iMovie 10 beginners tutorial video. Just in case you're not already aware, if you have updated your Mac, so you can go and check via going the Apple menu and about this Mac. If you've got it updated to 10.9 and above, you may be running iMovie 10. Here's a couple of tips to figure out how if you're running iMovie 10 or not. In your dock, you have an iMovie icon with a purple star instead of a black star. That's probably a good giveaway that you're running iMovie 10. Alternatively, on the Launchpad as well, if I click that, you'll see iMovie up the top here. Or if you go to your applications, you'll see here iMovie is a purple star and I have iMovie 9 moved over into a folder. Or the last place to look, if you go into the Spotlight and type in iMovie, you have that one with the purple star as opposed to that one with the black star. So let's begin, shall we? Let's open up iMovie 10 that's got the purple star icon. Those of you who are not familiar with the iMovie 10 interface, let's give you a quick rundown on what's going on. We have our libraries panel on the left-hand side, which we can hide or show. Currently, because I've imported stuff from my iMovie 9, I've got stuff in my iMovie library, but don't stress about that. That's just the events that are there. I don't have any projects set up at the moment. That's all empty. We have an import button, create button, share button up the top here, which allows us to obviously import footage, create an iMovie, and share that with other people. We have a new toggle switch called Library in Theatre. So the theatre allows us to have a place to see all of our finished products, and the library is what you're used to editing with. We have an enhance option which automatically improves the audio and video quality of the selected clip. And we have an adjustment thing which shows or hides the adjustment bars. So this is the main window that you'll be working from, this darker or middle grey window. And then the bottom window will be the all-important timeline window when we're working in iMovie. And that's the basics that you really need to know. So let's get started. If I wanted to create a new movie or a new event, so I can go new event from here, all I'm doing is right-clicking, and I'm going to call this test event. Now that I've got my test event in place, I'm going to import footage. Now I can import it from the FaceTime camera or my hard drive, or I can even go to my favorites, which is my desktop or my home directory. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in my iPhone, and that will give me the iPhone movies. So there we go. I have my iPhone movies here. I am going to click on my cat here, and I think I'll click on this one here, and I'm going to import these selected ones. And in they come. You can see that there's a little icon to show you that they're importing. Tap, 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 away they go. And I get an import complete. So if I wanted to finish with that, I can hit eject, or I can continue using it in another application and I can hit close. But I'm going to hit eject because I'm done with that. Alright, so how do we preview these footage clips? Well, I can scrub my mouse across the timeline here, and that will give me all that good stuff. Or I can click and I can hit the spacebar to play through what's going on. And I can hit the space bar to stop, or I've got a play button here and a pause button again once I've stopped. Really, really simple stuff. Let's get down to the nitty gritty of creating a movie. So I'm going to hit the create button up the top here. Now we have two options. I can go for the movie or I can go for a trailer, which gives me a Hollywood-esque trailer. I'm going to go for movie, so I'm going to click this one up the top here. We have these wonderful themes that come with iMovie as well. So if I wanted to, I've got transitions and title sequences that match. Because I like control over my own project, I'm going to choose no theme and I'm going to hit create. And I get a question, where do I want to put the movie and what do I want to call it? Well, I'm going to call this my demo beginners movie, and I'm going to put it in my test event that I just created. So let's OK that. And here we're ready to begin working. Now, if I close off the project accidentally, so I close the timeline, if I want to re-edit it, all I have to do is click on my test event or click on all events or whatever you've got, all projects, sorry, and I can double click and that will bring me back into the same place that I left off. This is an automatic saving feature, so you don't have to keep on saving every 15 minutes or whatever it might be. This just functions and it goes. Alrighty. So, again, I can scrub through the clip using my mouse cursor. I can click, and if I click in any particular point in the clip, you'll notice I get a plus button. Now, the plus button will automatically add a 4-second clip to my movie timeline down the bottom. So if I click that, I'll show you what happens. 4 seconds in the demo beginners movie timeline. Now that's all well and good, but what if I don't want 4 seconds? Well, I can come down the bottom here and I can hit the delete key on my keyboard and that makes it disappear from the timeline. And I can choose by clicking and dragging, and there's 3 seconds, there's 4 seconds, there's 5 seconds, there's 6 seconds, 7. I want that 8-second clip that's ready to go. I can hit the plus button, which will make it go to the timeline, or I can drag that down here and drop it in the timeline manually. If I want to do the same with this clip here as well, with me talking and being in a white room, I can drag. And if I wanted to insert that into the middle of the footage, I can click and drag and drop over any point in this footage. And I can replace it, or I can insert. Now I'm not really going to do that because I don't want to do that, so I'm going to hit cancel. And instead, I'm just going to drop that onto the timeline at the end here. Nice and simple. So whilst we've got the timeline open, we can do some things with the audio. So I can click and drag this audio up or down. So if I want to make the audio louder, I can drag up, that's 400%. Or I can drag down to 0%. Or I can have it somewhere in between. I'm going to take it back to 100% if I can. This is really, really difficult. It's not letting me. That's okay, 112% is fine. I also have these little nodules. So what are these? I can actually pull these in or out, and these are the fade in, fade out handles. So I can fade audio in, I can fade audio out, and I can do that as well with that clip as well. So if I want to fade in, I'm going to click and drag, and that's fade in, and then I don't have a fade out on that. If you do not see this, there is a little button up the top here, and it has audio show waveforms. If I don't have that selected, you won't see the blue thingy down the bottom with all the audio. Incidentally, if you can't work out how to grab those bars, you can make the clips bigger. And that will make it easier to grab the bars. Bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller. So that is how you control your audio. Nice and simple. Let's move on to transitions. I'm going to click on the transitions down here in my content library. And now I have all these wonderful transitions to play with. I have a cross blur, so if I want to figure out what the cross blur looks like, I can click the cross blur, hit the spacebar, and that's what it shows me, the cross blur in motion. Or if I want to see the cube, again, click, and that's how the cube works. Nice and simple. Once I've chosen a transition that I like, I can click and drag it, and it will automatically snap to endpoints in my project. So there's a split in between the two clips, and that transition is a second long. And because it's a set transition, I can't make that transition any longer, but I can make it shorter if I want. I'll show you that in a sec. However, if I don't like the transition, all I got to do, click to select it, hit the delete key on my keyboard, and it disappears. I mentioned I can make transitions bigger or smaller. Let me show you with the cross blur transition. So I'm going to click that, drag that down here. I'm going to right click it and show the precision editor. Now, if I want that blur to take longer or shorter, I can actually grab the ends of it and start it, well, let's say 2 seconds earlier. And in fact, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to make it 2.5 seconds now. And now when I close the precision editor, that is actually 3.5 seconds long. So if I mouse over here, click, hit spacebar, it takes 3.5 seconds to fade from one to the other. Nice and simple. And you can keep on adding transitions as you need. I'm just showing you how to add 1 or 2 in and manipulate that. So that's transitions out of the way. Let's take a look at the titles. So here are some titles. I can, for instance, reveal a lower third. Or I can line the lower third, and it looks a little bit like that. And when I've chosen the title that I like the most, so in this case, let's have a look. I think I like, no, there's too many to choose from. I think I like the lower third, just the normal lower third. So I'm going to click on that one. I can drag that down, and as you can see, by default, I have a 4-second title sequence. And I can place this anywhere. I can place this over on this one, I can place it over here, wherever I want. Once I've got the location, let go, there it is right there. Now, if I don't like the text, I can change it just by, first of all, clicking and then double clicking the word or the title. So I'm going to call this Hello Oscar, because that's my cat, and I don't really want a description, so I'm just going to delete that. And I've decided I don't like this text. It's a little bit stock standard, so I'm going to click the Adjust button up the top here, and I have different fonts that I can choose from. So I like chalkboard. I don't think it should be bold. Oh, no, maybe I'll leave the bold on it. And when I'm done with it, I can hit a little tick, and that makes it A-OK, ready to go. So there is my 4-second duration title sequence. So if I click back here, again, spacebar, hello Oscar, and then disappears. Fantastic. what if I don't want a 4-second title sequence? Well, I can click on the title sequence, move my mouse cursor to the end, and I get a left and right arrow. That's a trim and extend arrow. So I can click and drag and make that, let's make that 2 seconds long, and that's done. Or if I wanted to make it a little bit longer, I can again click and drag. Now it's 2.4 seconds. And that's my title sequence done. If I wanted to have just a clean title without any footage underneath, I can do that as well. So let's take the scrolling credits and let's drop that at the end here. And you'll see that by default it goes to black and we have scrolling credits. So again, I'm going to click and I'm going to double click this and I can say thanks to and name me cameraman. If I can spell me editor, me for scriptwriter, and you know what, I'll just delete the rest because I don't need them. And so what that means now is when I click back here, I'll hit spacebar, and thanks to me the cameraman, me the editor, me the scriptwriter, and that's just going to last for 10 seconds, and then finish. And it's played through to the end. How easy is that? What else have we got in the content library? We have maps and backgrounds. So if I don't like the black background, I can decide, oh, you know what? I want a red background instead. All I got to do is replace that and go back to my title sequence and put my scrolling credits back on it over the top. And I now have scrolling credits over the red instead of black. Nice and easy. We also have different maps if you want to use them. I'm not going to go through that. And the other content that we can grab from the iTunes library. So if you want to pull in anything that you've imported into iTunes, you can do that. We've also got a library of sound effects, which is kind of cool. So if I want like the bell tower, for instance, I can drop that in somewhere here. And when I play that back, there is a bell tower that plays. And I have also the option of pulling stuff in from GarageBand. Given that I haven't built anything in GarageBand, there's nothing there currently, but I have the option of doing so. So, what do we do when we're done? Well, you can close the project if you would like. Or the other option that you may want to take is to share the project. So we have all these different options of sharing. We can go to theatre, we can go to email, we can go to iTunes, we can go straight to YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, CNN Report, or File. My preference is for File, so I'm going to click on File. So again, we can scrub through the full project. We can see that it's a 20-second long process, so duration of the project. We have an estimated file size, so it's going to be 52 meg. And compatibility, ooh, well, it's only going to be compatible on Mac and PC at the moment. It's not going to play on the iPod, iPad, etc. But we can change all that. So, by size, I can change it to a 480p, 540p, 720p, or 1080p. And that will hopefully allow for greater compatibility. In this case, not right now, but that's okay. So when I've decided that I'm happy with my, say, 720p file, which is 31.9 meg estimated, I'm going to let it add to the theatre and I'm going to hit next. It asks me where do I want to save it. I'm going to say I want to save it to the desktop and hit save. And what this now does is, if I go to the theatre view, I've already created a demo movie. Here is my demo beginners movie. And I'm going to speed this footage up so that you don't have to sit through all of it. And done. The file was successful. So I can show that, or I can close that. I can play it because it opens it up in QuickTime for me. I'm not actually going to do that. So I'm just going to close my QuickTime player down. And it's uploading into iCloud, and it's doing all that wonderful stuff out of the theatre because we have integration into iCloud. I'm not going to worry about that either. But that means that I can now play this movie on any device that has got iCloud access. So I can play it on my iPhone, my iPad, etc. So, where can I view my file? I'm going to go to Finder. I've got the desktop open, and there is my demo beginners movie on my desktop. So nice and simple. And when you're done with all of the objects, we can either move the whole event to trash, and that deletes it off the disk, or we can delete certain parts of the clips. So I can select entire clip and reject it, and that will also allow me to delete it basically. But yeah, that basically is the full walkthrough, or a very brief walkthrough, of the beginner's guide to iMovie 10. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more content, because I'll be making more of these things to walk you through, if that's what you're after. And we'll see you guys in the next video.